Hi, my name is Sally Shah, and I am an educator. I started my professional career in the classroom as a classroom teacher, teaching third, fourth, and fifth grade, and also as an instructional coach. And I'm excited to be able to kind of step outside the classroom and step into personal empowerment coaching, where I can work with adults who are ready to jump in and tap into their truest potential. One of the pieces of my story that I feel really is important to share is there was a point in time in my life where I felt completely lost in my career. I was in my career for a while and I wasn't sure which direction, and I kind of felt like I lost my purpose. But really, at the end of the day, it wasn't that I lost my purpose. My purpose was always inside of me. I just needed someone to kind of ask me the right questions. And that's what inspired me to kind of jump into coaching, was because of the fact that at the end of the day, I believe that really everybody has the ability to move forward and tap into their potential. They just need someone to be able to ask those questions that maybe they didn't even think of themselves. And so there's a point in time in my story where I felt very lost. I felt like anxiety and depression were just kind of taking over. But really, all I needed to do was kind of tap into those limiting beliefs that were holding me back. And from there, once I was able to take control of that, I was able to move forward and realize what my potential was. And that was to step into something I've been doing forever, which is coaching. So I was inspired to become a coach because of my own personal experiences just in my professional development. And I saw, what can happen when you get stuck. And man, there have been times where I have felt very, very stuck. And I found that by tapping into a coach for myself and being able to realize kind of the limiting things that I had in my life, that I was allowing myself to feel limited, I realized that what inspired me to be a coach was the ability to just be that guide for other people. When I was a classroom teacher and then working with brand new teachers, I realized that really everybody has the answers inside of them. They just need a safe space to feel seen and heard. And I realized that during my whole career as a teacher, I realized that was something that was lacking for me. And so I wanted to create that space that I felt like I never had, a safe space to feel seen and heard, and then to be able to kind of have someone to walk me through that journey. So really helping people kind of tap into their potential, I find extremely fulfilling. So right now, my coaching business is really in its beginning stages. I just completed my coach training EDU training 1.0, and it really helped me to kind of step into that entrepreneurial mindset. And so really my business is really focused on supporting women in rediscovering their power and really focused on making these big and lasting shifts in their life. So I right now offer one-on-one coaching. I do group workshops, helping people kind of break through those barriers that might be holding them back. And then I also help to create resources for women to kind of work through those limiting beliefs, kind of gain clarity, and be able to kind of live authentically and unapologetically through taking basic action steps. My vision for my coaching business is really to create this global community where women feel supported. Like I said before, helping people feel seen and heard is, I think, one of the biggest things missing in society. And that's what I believe coaching sessions should be about, is giving people that safe space to really be believed, to feel empowered within themselves. And so I want to really create a space where people can come together, they can uplift one another and then be able to share their journeys, because I feel like the more we share our journeys, the more we share our challenges and our struggles, that's when we're able to really move forward, because when you're able to speak about it, you can own it. And then from there, you're able to manifest all of your goals and accomplish those dreams that you've always thought were just dreams, when really they can be reality. I would say that my advice for someone who wants to start their coaching journey is you first have to be willing to go on a personal journey yourself. So you have to be okay working on yourself. When I went through the coach training EDU program, I realized that there were a lot of things that I needed to personally work through. So a lot of those tools, like limiting beliefs, or really figuring out what my strengths were, it was an opportunity to really look in the mirror and say, ooh, you need to work through that. And the beautiful thing is, we're never fully reaching our peak of awareness, right? There's always going to be things we need to work on. So I would say my advice with someone starting that coaching journey is first be okay with kind of realizing that there are things within yourself you need to work through. And then really trusting. I think one of the biggest things that I have on a post-it note, actually right here on my computer, is the three trusts. Trust the process, trust your client, and trust yourself. And really, I think that trusting yourself needs to be at the top part, because your clients will come when you trust yourself. The process will work itself out if you just kind of take a step back and realize that if you just are in it for the right reasons and you're in it to give people that safe space, the right clients will come your way. So it takes time. So we have to just continuously give ourselves grace and be patient with ourselves, because building a business takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will our coaching business. So when I think of telling someone kind of some things that are younger than me, I immediately think of my younger baby self. And the first quote that pops into my mind, which is one of my mottos, is the Eleanor Roosevelt quote that says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And the reason why that quote pops up when I'm thinking about what I would tell someone who's younger than me is because throughout life, there's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people who are going to tell you that you're crazy. There's going to be people that are going to maybe tell you that you're too extra or too much. And my response to that is, you are only too extra and too much if you allow that to be a negative thing, right? So you have the ability to own that and say, you know what? I am much. I am extra. And that brings more light and energy into this world. And so sometimes when those naysayers come through and they make you question who you are, you just have to pause and remember to trust yourself, that you know yourself best, and that who you are supposed to be and what you're supposed to do is going to reveal itself. You just have to kind of give yourself that space, and that you have the potential to create whatever it is that you want in your life. And if it's extra, let it be extra. Coaching is such a powerful thing. And it's powerful because it doesn't rely on a coach giving advice. We're not giving advice. We're not telling people what to do. Coaching gives people a safe space to hear themselves think. We live in such a loud society where we're constantly bombarded, whether it's social media, whether it's the news, like we can't step away from noise. And so being a coach is being able to walk into a session with full confidence that the client has the answers inside of them, and just the ability that we are going to be able to ask the right questions by being in it with them. And I also think that a beautiful thing about being a coach is I'm reminded of the quote by Ram Dass that's, we're all just here walking each other home. And I think that's what a coach is. is that we're all just we're paired up with our client to help walk them home. Not saying that they can't do it by themselves, but sometimes they just need that accountability partner to help them take action towards their dreams. That's what coaching means to me. Coaching truly has been a game changer for me, not just in myself doing the active coaching, but being the recipient of coaching on the other end of it, being a client myself. I feel like it's been life changing for me because it's really shown me new career doors to open. It's allowed me to kind of take a look at the mirror and be able to kind of step forward into what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I've also really learned how to be kinder to myself, to kind of push past some of those doubts that really are not even doubts that I have put on myself, but it's things that I've learned over the years that have caused me to maybe take a step back and think about the noise, the things that other people have said to me. So, coaching has been life changing because I've been able to do this inner work on myself to really step into my power to live more authentically and with way more compassion than I ever would have thought. So the name of my, just to kind of jump in, the name of my coaching business, I called it It's a Sally Thing. And the reason why I called it that was because throughout my life, there's been so many things where people would be like, oh, that's such a Sally thing. Or, oh, look, Sally's doing her thing again. And one day my brother looked at me and said, Sally, why don't you just own it? And so that's where it became It's a Sally Thing. And I want people to be able to take that title and I want them to be able to plug their own names into it, whether it's a Jessica thing, it's a Bob thing. I want people to be able to throw their own name into it and own it themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's what coaching is. It's owning who we are and what we do. Through my training at Coach Training EDU, I really learned that I'm capable of making a bigger impact than I initially thought. That all I need to do is really make sure I'm holding space for people, that I'm really listening to people and not just listening to respond, right? But listening to really hear, to kind of understand what someone is saying, and then to be able to then help them kind of tap into that confidence. But like I was saying before, focusing on trusting the process, trusting the client, and then internally just trusting myself. That was the biggest takeaway that I got from Coach Training EDU, along with all of the helpful tools. But trusting and listening were the number one things I gained. One of the biggest things that I think is so helpful with Coach Training EDU is not only the live classes that we take, which I formed such an amazing community with my classmates that I still keep in touch with, um, but Coach Training EDU also provided us tools, structure, and the support needed to start the coaching business. So whether we had access to our instructors outside of class time, to the whole kind of repertoire of tools that we're really able to kind of tap into and be able to download so we have those resources. I really appreciated the clear coaching framework as far as using just the time model to really be able to set up a structured session where the client's able to kind of create an agenda in conjunction with the coach. I think that that was such a really viable tool as well. But there were also tips weaved throughout the course on how to start that business. And I think one of the biggest takeaways I got is whenever you're starting a business, there's going to be those highs where you're like, man, I'm killing it, right? I'm getting clients, I'm working through this. And there's going to be those lows where it's not always easy because when you're building a business, you're going to have those highs and you're going to have those lows. It's just how are you going to think when you have those lows? And how are you going to think when you have those highs? And so I feel like CTEDU kind of prepares you for that so that when you're walking into your business, you can be prepared that sometimes it's going to be a hill and sometimes it's going to be a valley, but both of those are okay. My experience with the CTEDU community, what's been really powerful is I've participated in the power hours that is offered, which I have maintained connections with several of the people that I've met in there. And it's been funny because it's literally meeting with them for like an hour where we're doing kind of like this 30-minute coaching kind of back to back. But then even with my course, there's a group of us that still keep in touch. We still keep in contact. Many of us are kind of doing reciprocal coaching so we can help each other get our hours. And then just the workshops that CTEDU offers has been super helpful. One of the workshops that I attended talked about how to even create your own workshop, to kind of help you be able to gain clients in different areas. So that's been really helpful. But then also I've been able to receive coaching from my instructors, which has been just a game changer for me. Because I think people who are really great coaches, it's because they have really great coaches that they can go to. And so you got to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, more advanced than you, because that's how you level up. So that's what I find really helpful with CTEDU is the communities that are formed, because that's how you move forward. You can't do it by yourself. I would say, as far as professional growth, I think CTE really supports kind of ongoing education. So there are so many workshops offered all the time. And I think everything from just like the power hours have been helpful, because you coaching is something where you get better by doing it. You have to keep practicing it. And so I think the fact that that's offered is really helpful. And then of course the resources. So just the from everything from the textbook to the resources that are on the website that even have example questions for you to kind of be thinking about and practicing and even adding your own, I think really has been instrumental in my development as I'm continuing to move forward as a coach. One of the classes that I was sitting in, a quote was shared that I feel like was really foundational to kind of my inner work as I was going through. And I have it on a post-it note right here, and it says, I can only honor and value others if I'm honoring and valuing myself. And I think so often, I've always stepped into the world saying, I'm going to give safe spaces for people to really be able to see and hear people, and I'm going to honor and value other people. But then at the end of the day, I would look and I was giving myself such negative self talk, and I had such limiting beliefs myself. And I realized, how am I really going to show up 100% if I'm not practicing these things myself? And so I think what's really huge is, yes, it's important. We have to give safe spaces to people and we have to honor and value others, but we have to start by doing the work on ourselves to be able to honor and value who we are. Um, and I think just the repeated mindset of coaching is not about giving advice. It's not about saying, well, you know what I would do, or in past experiences, I did this. It is not about that. It is not about it is about the client. And it's about giving and guiding the client to their own answers. And I think many people growing up, I think so many times have been told what to do. We sometimes are wired that we're afraid to make mistakes or we're afraid to do the wrong thing. So we're kind of always checking to make sure that other people are being approving of the things that we're saying and approving of the things that we're doing. And I think coaching rewires that, really telling people like, no, 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 this is a safe space to be able to be your authentic self. And one of the game changing pieces that I learned in the Design the Alliance was telling the client initially, in this space, when we are doing a coaching session, I will not be judging you. And I ask you to not judge yourself. And every time I say that, I see this like visual relief of like, oh, I don't have to judge myself. Because sometimes the moment things come out of our mouth, sometimes even before things come out of our mouth, we're already judging it. And so that's what I love about coaching is it's really helping people show up, and it's helping me show up as a facilitator to help walk people through their own growth. And I think that is just coaching really should be embedded in any career path or anything that you're doing because it's just empowering internally.